Welcome back, commercials. Today, the topic that I am going to talk about is very much in discussion these days. Many are interested in investing in these funds. Yes, I'm talking about mutual funds. A mutual fund is an open-end, professionally managed investment fund that pulls money from many investors to purchase securities. These investors may be retail or institutional in nature. The term is typically used in United States, Canada, and India, while similar structures across the globe include the SICAV in Europe, that is investing company with variable capital, an open-ended investing company in UK. The first modern investment funds, the precursor of today's mutual funds, were established in Dutch Republic. In responsible to the financial crisis of 1772 and 73, Amsterdam-based businessman Abraham or Adrian van Wetwich formed a trust named Unity Creates Strength. His aim was to provide small investors with an opportunity to diversify. Mutual funds were introduced to the United States in the 1980s. Early US funds were generally closed-end funds with a fixed number of shares that often traded at prices above the portfolio net asset value. The first open-end mutual fund with redeemable shares was established on March 21, 1924, which still in existence today and managed by MFS Investment Management. After the Wall Street crash of 1929, the United States Congress passed a series of acts regulating the securities markets in general and mutual funds in Republic. So let's know them one after one. The Securities Act of 1933 requires that all investments sold to the public, including mutual funds, be registered with the SEC and that they provide prospective investors with an prospectus that discloses essential facts about the investment. The Securities and Exchange Act of 1934 requires that issuers of securities, including mutual funds, report regularly to their investors. This act also created the Securities and Exchange Commission, which is the principal regulator of mutual funds. The Revenue Act of 1936 established guidelines for the taxation of mutual funds. It allowed mutual funds to be treated as flow-through or pass-through entity where income is passed through the investors who are responsible for the tax on that income. The Investment Company Act of 1940 established rules specifically governing mutual funds. These new regulations encouraged the development of open-end funds as opposed to closed-end funds. Mutual funds have advantages and disadvantages compared to direct investing in individual securities. The advantages of mutual funds include economies of scale, diversification, liquidity, etc. However, these come with mutual fund fees and expenses. Now let's see the advantages. First, increased diversification. A mutual fund diversifies holding many securities. This diversification decreases risk. Daily liquidity. In the United States, mutual funds shares can be redeemed for their net asset value within 7 days, but in practice the redemption is often much quicker. This liquidity can create asset liability mismatch which poses challenges, which in part motivated an SEC liquidity management rule in 2016. Professional investment management. Open and closed-end funds hire portfolio managers to supervise the fund's investments. Ability to participate in investment that may be available only to larger investors. For example, individual investors often find it difficult to invest directly in foreign markets. Service and convenience. Funds often provide services such as check writing. Government oversight. Mutual funds are regulated by a governmental body. Transparency and ease of comparison. All mutual funds are required to report the same information to investors, which makes them easier to compare to each other. Now come to the disadvantages. Mutual funds have disadvantages as well, which includes fees, less control over the timing of recognition of gains, less predictable income, and no opportunity to customize. Fund structures. Yes, the mutual funds have some fund structures. These are three primary structures of mutual funds: open-end funds, unit investment trust, and closed-end funds. Exchange-traded funds or ETFs are open-end funds or unit investment trusts that trade on an exchange. Let's know them one by one. Open-end funds must be willing to buy back or redeem their shares from their investors at a net asset value computed that day based upon the prices of the securities owned by the fund. In US, open-end funds must be willing to buy back shares at the end of every business day. But in other jurisdictions, open-end funds may only be required to buy back shares at longer intervals. United Investment Trusts or UITs are issued to the public only once when they are created. It generally have limited lifespan established at creation. Investors can redeem shares directly with the fund at any time, similar to an open-end fund, or wait to redeem them upon the trust termination. Thirdly, the closed-end funds. It generally issues shares to the public only once, when they are created through an individual public offering. The shares are then listed for trading on a stock exchange. Investors who want to sell their shares must sell them to another investors in the market. They cannot sell their shares back to the fund. The price that investors receive for their shares may be significantly different from NAV. It may be at a premium to NAV. Beside the funds, mutual funds have some expenses. Investors to a mutual fund pay the fund's expenses. Some of these reduce the value of an investor's account, while others are paid by the fund and reduce net asset value. These fall into following categories. Management fee is paid by the fund to the management company or sponsor that organizes the fund. Distribution charges pay for marketing and distribution of funds, shares as well as services to investors. Securities transaction fees incurred by the fund pays expenses related to buying or selling the securities in the portfolio. These expenses may include brokerage commissions. Lastly, shareholder transaction fees. These are paid to the funds for certain transactions, such as buying or selling shares of the fund, or may charge for maintaining an individual retirement account for an investor. There are several types of share classes. A single mutual fund may give investors a choice of different combinations of front-end loads, back-end loads, and distribution and services fees by offering several different types of shares known as share classes. All of them invest in the same portfolio of securities, but each has different expenses and therefore different net asset values and different performance results. Some of these shares classes may be available only to certain types of investors. Class A shares usually charge a front-end sales load together with a small distribution and services fee. Class B shares usually do not have a front-end sales load, rather they have a high contingent deferred sales charge. Class B shares usually convert automatically to Class A shares after they have been held for a certain period. Class C shares usually have a high distribution and services fee and a modest contingent deferred sales charge that is discontinued after 1 or 2 years. Class C shares usually do not convert to another class. They are often called level load shares. Class I are usually subject to very minimum investment requirements and are therefore known as institutional shares. They are no load shares. Lastly, Class R. These are usually for use in retirement plans such as 401k plans. They typically do not charge loads but do charge a small distribution and service fees. At the end, we will learn how mutual fund works. A mutual fund is both an investment and an actual company. This dual nature of mutual fund may seem strange, but it is no different from how a share of AAPL is a representation of Apple Inc. When an investor buys Apple stock, he is buying partial ownership of the company and its assets. Similarly, a mutual fund investor is buying partial ownership of the mutual fund company and its assets. The difference is that Apple is the business of making innovative devices and tablets, while a mutual fund company is in the business of making investments. Investors typically earn a return from the mutual fund in three ways. Income is earned from dividends on stocks and interest on bonds held in the fund's portfolio. A fund pays out nearly all the income it receives over the year to fund donors in the form of a distribution. If the fund sells securities that have increased in price, the fund has a capital gain. Most funds also pass on these gains to investors in a distribution. If funds holding increases in price but are not sold by the fund manager, the fund's share increase in price. You can then sell your mutual fund shares for a profit in the market. If you find the whole video helpful and interesting, then please do like, share and subscribe the channel. You can also follow me on Instagram. If you have any queries, doubts or any suggestion, please do comment in the section below. Thank you and have a nice day.